Yo, remember when Saitama and Goku fought Naruto for the last Dragon Ball? He'd have lost if he didn't have a gum gum fruit.
What? Do you even watch anime? Yo, what's this guy talking about?
Yo, who mans
Yo,
is
get
this?
out of here, man. Alright, back here with another video. I am your host. This is KQ from KQ Anime. Alright guys, it's been a while. As the first video, I'd like to start off something simple. You know, it's complicated, it's a theory, and also an analysis within itself. We're going to talk about Straw Hat bounties. Now, in order to do that, we need to go into a backstory about bounties and what are the milestones for bounties, just so we can get an understanding of what possibly is going to be the new bounties for these Straw Hats. Now, the three most important milestones for bounties, because there are a couple, as you know, we can see that Luffy having a 30 million berry bounty coming straight out of the East Blue was something that was ridiculously high, apparently. Meaning there was a benchmark, and Luffy pretty much passed it. As well as we have other milestones where you become a Yonko, and we have people like beating the 5 billion berry mark, which is just Roger and Whitebeard. We're going to focus on the three most important bounty increases, that being 100 million within your first year of pirating, as we heard about in Sabaody, which makes you into a supernova or super rookie, as some of you guys might have heard depending on what dub you listen to. And then we also have 300 million, and that's according to Jinbei. He was saying that after you reach 300 million, you really have a hard time getting your bounty even higher. You must have either done some ridiculously heinous things, or have been deemed as a serious threat to the world government one way or another, or be extremely powerful. Now, the next one is 1 billion berries, which that comes from your OG himself, Marco the Phoenix, who says fighting pirates who have over 1 billion bounty in and itself isn't easy by any chance, and will really give you a hard time. As we can see, he wasn't able to defeat both King and Queen, or either one of the two, no matter what way you spent it. Now, before we get too deep into those things, I just want to let you know, again, you have 100 million, we have 300 million, and we have 1 billion. Those are pretty much the big milestones that are hurdles for pirates to face. Adding on whether they got help, the 3 captains for these respective crews defeated these 2 captains for this Yonko Alliance, and that is Luffy, Kid, and Law, and they received a bounty of 3 billion bear each, which is simply put the bounties of Kaido and Big Mom combined, divided up into 3. That's pretty much just a simple way of looking at it, and that's pretty much what we got. So a big thing is that a lot of these bounties are going to be coming from a collective of what CP0, that remaining member of CP0, is going to be saying, as well as what did Apu tell Big News Morgans. Between those two informants, we're going to be able to predict what the bounties of the Straw Hats should be. So at the bottom of the list, we have Tony Chopper, who, as far as we know, as far as the story has given us, is just a pet of the crew. Now, we as real fans, we know otherwise. We know that Chopper is going to one day cure all those diseases like he said he's going to do. We know that Chopper is a really top level doctor within the series, and we know that his monster point is pretty strong. Not only do we know that, but Apu knows that as well. From what Apu's seen and what everybody on the main floor have seen, Chopper was able to also transform into his monster point and damage and make Queen the Plague bleed. Now, this is a great feat for someone like Chopper to be able to damage an ancient zone, and a tanky one at that. So after this, my prediction is that Chopper is going to get a real bounty. Now, I don't think he's going to be known as the candy lover anymore. I think he's going to have a different epitaph, as well as a different picture to his poster, and it's going to be him in Monster Point, and that is going to get a different bounty, and I think that bounty is going to be about 200 million. Now, if that's not the case and Oda wants to keep the gag going, he's probably going to use the old man chopper when he goes into his little tiny form, and let that one have a bounty of about 1,000 or 200. So it's one of those options. Either it's going to be a cute, funny gag poster and a small bounty, or it's going to be Monster Point, and its bounty is probably going to be about 200 million for being able to damage Queen the Plague. Now, number 2, we're going to go on to Nami. Now, Nami is a character who has not done much in the raid, but as a cat burglar, we saw that she was able to take back Zeus and use Zeus to take down Ulti. Now, we know that Big Mom did the heavy lifting with that. We know Big Mom is the one that really should get the W for defeating Ulti. But when it's announced that Ulti is defeated, the one who actually did land the final blow is Nami. And that's probably what's going to be on Big's newspaper, as well as what the world government is going to see. Now, they're going to understand that, you know, it's probably not her just soloing, that a lot of it has to do with that she now has Prometheus, but that in itself is a feat. So I think that she may not exceed Ulti's bounty because of it. Her epitaph is related to taking things from people, and she took Big Mom's homie and used that to take down a Toby Ropo. I think her bounty is going to increase by 200 million, leaving her with a bounty of 266 million, just right underneath that 300 million bounty benchmark. Now, going on to the next one, we have Usopp. And just like Nami, Usopp really hasn't done much in this war. When it comes down to matchups, he may have gotten credit for converting the smile users when he was shooting the Kibi dongos that Otama was giving him. He was shooting in their mouths, pause. And that in turn really was changing the tide of the war, because the smile users, we know, are very strong, and it was a very pivotal point. Every part matters in this raid, and so Usopp going around and being able to, one way or another, whether it's through that conference hockey that he was telling people, or through actually using an ability to be able to convert a lot of the smile users on the Beast Pirate side to their side. Either way, Usopp has been able to show that he is capable of being vital to the Straw Hats, even in a time of war. And so because of that, I don't see him really being gassed up too much this time. He didn't take out, you know, he didn't take out page 1. He's not noted for taking out page 1. So we might see something like only 100 billion berry increase, unlike the other Straw Hats who are going to get a higher increase. But it's still going to leave him with something pretty crazy, which is a 400 million berry bounty at the end of Wano. And as I said, crossing that 300 million berry mark, that's already a feat in itself. So Usopp is still going to get a lot of respect coming out of this, and we're going to probably see something even crazier once they finally go to Elbaf, which is the home of the Giants. On to number 4, Brook. Now, Brook is another character who really hasn't done much in this war. Now, a lot of it's because Brook, due to his abilities, is more of an espionage character, much like Sanji. And in this fight in particular, we really didn't get to see a 1v1 with anybody. So I'm not really expecting to see that big of a rise when it comes to his bounty. I'm going to expect to see just another 200 generic rise from him this arc, which will give him 283 million berry bounty at the end of this. Again, just shy of coming to that 300 million berry mark, but keeps him relevant within the Straw Hats. Now let's get to the bread and butter of this crew. We're going to start off with your main man, Frankie. Now, Frankie really showcased a lot in this war. He came out looking like a boss, tell you the truth. First thing he did is ride in and he hit Big Mom in the head with his bike. That took a lot of guts, as well as to be able to pull that off. They really got to say something about the character himself. So when we look at it, his feats in his arc range from running over Big Mom's face to teaming up with Yamato, Kaido's daughter, and defeating a number. as well as going on to defeat a Tobiropo by himself, Sasaki, so who had a bounty of 472 million. Now with this, we're going to see a drastic increase to Frankie's bounty, which is something that we've been wanting to see. He's been pretty upset that he hasn't even gotten into the 100 million benchmark. I think this time we're going to see Frankie have something that surpasses that 400 million benchmark, which Sasaki has a 472. And we're going to see a 400 million increase to Frankie's bounty, giving him just shy of 500 million and leaving him with 494 million as his final bounty, leaving Wano. Next up is a controversial one. Nico Robin is someone that has the fandom split between receiving a 1 billion berry plus bounty for being able to read the poneglyphs now that we're so close to the end game, or having a bounty extremely low, like under 200 million, due to the world government not wanting anyone to know how important she is in this story. Now, I do want to say is that when it comes to reading the poneglyphs and the threat that Robin herself exhibits, we already received that bounty already, which was 79 million as a child. This is very important because someone like Kaido received an even lower bounty as a child. Meanwhile, Kaido was going from country to country in wars and being a war hero, destroying their civilization, gaining their resources. So he was pivotal for countries to even progress and being able to come up with money just to give to the celestial dragons, as well as being someone who individualistically has a body that the world government wants to be able to experiment on, being an Oni. Now, with Kaido being an Oni, Kaido being able to launch multiple wars on other countries, this guy is someone that's very powerful, durable, and unique, and is an asset to the world government, and yet he received a bounty that was less than Nico Robin's. So with that being said, the world government already gave her a bounty for knowing how to read the poneglyphs. She's not just a scholar, guys. She's someone that's actually strong, and it'd be pretty weird and concerning if she wasn't receiving a bounty increase for her physical feats outside of being reading those poneglyphs. Now, she defeated Black Maria in this raid 1v1, and Black Maria had a higher bounty than Sasaki at 480 million. Now, this makes sense too, because Robin also had a higher bounty than Frankie as well too. And we should see a similar increase of 400 million, giving her a bounty of 530 million coming out of this raid. Now that passes the 500 million berry mark, as well as it shows everyone how much of a physical threat she is, because even though you may want to capture her for her knowledge and offer up to the government, you may not be able to pull it off because of how strong she is too. So I think that's a nice sweet spot. 530 mil is very fitting. Next up is Jinbei, Knight of the Sea, whose current bounty is 438 million before joining the Straw Hats. Now, with everything he was able to do, honestly, CP0 was expecting it. He defeated Who's Who, and Who's Who had a bounty of 546, and Jinbei really just put in the work. Not only just that, he offers a lot to the Straw Hats as being someone that was a former Shichibukai. So he has knowledge about the world government that the average pirate doesn't, as well as being through a lot of different eras. We got to remember he was on the Whitebeard ship. He was with the Big Mom Pirates. He was also with Fisher Tiger. So Jinbei has a lot of knowledge on the Yonkos, the Shichibukai, the world government that he can offer to the Straw Hats, as well as a unique fighting style with Fishman Karate and a lot of power. So with that being said, his addition to the Straw Hats, him and his victory over Who's Who, I think that he's going to be looked at as one of the commanders to Luffy, and a very powerful one and an important one at that. And we probably going to see his bounty double after this. Now, I know some people came up with some theories about specifically what number it is. I'm not going to delve too deep into that. I'm just going to leave off that I think his bounty is going to double, especially when you look at it, you know, now I think about it. Parasparrow has a bounty of 700 million. And that's because of what he brings to Big Mom on the table. Like, and Jinbei is very similar in that aspect. So I really think that Jinbei's bounty is going to be in the 800s, like 876, because that's double 438. So I think coming out of this, Jinbei's bounty is going to double, and that's what we're going to end up seeing as it. Now, let's go into some honorable mentions. So first honorable mention we're going to talk about is Killer, who was somebody that was on the rooftop. He assisted his captain, just like Zoro did, and trying to take down both Kaido and Big Mom. And then off for the rooftop, he did defeat Hawkins, who at the time had a 320 million berry bounty, which was exactly the same as Zoro's. So being someone that is like, when you think about it, he has a similar position as Zoro and his crew, as well as he defeated someone from the Worst Generation who also has Zoro's bounty as well too. I think that we should see probably, I don't know, I want to say that his bounty would double, but as I remember right, his bounty is super low. I don't remember the exact number. We're going to say that, let's take both Zoro's bounty and Hawkins' bounty. I think that a fitting bounty for his particular crew would be something like 640. Just like I'm expecting to see Jinbei's double because of what he offers to the crew, I'm expecting to see a drastic increase in Killer's bounty, and 640 around there in the 600s. I think that's where Killer's going to end up being. Probably around the 700 mark, just like how Parasparrow is 700. Yeah, his Killer is probably going to be around there too. And the next one, not too much thought about it as well too, Yamato. Yamato wants to join Luffy's crew. She's one of the bros, and I don't know, I'm just really getting Ace vibes from all of this, probably because of interaction with Ace wanted to take down her father too. There's other theories out there that people have tied to Ace. Honestly, she's not going to get a billion berry bounty off rip, so 550, which was Ace's previous bounty, may just be poetic altogether. And if you look at it, Sawa received Ace's devil fruit, and we might even see Yamato with Ace's bounty. Just again to just give shout outs to Ace. I know Oda really loves him, even though he left him with a donut. Alright guys, if you made it this far, please like and subscribe, and that will let me know that I should be making a lot more videos. Now, if you made it this far, my guess is that you're here to hear the wings of the Pirate King, Zoro and Sanji. Whether you're a first-time viewer of One Piece or you're just caught up to these chapters, you would like to know what are their bounties. Now, unlike popular belief, I do not adhere to the idea that Zoro and Sanji are going to have the same exact bounty, or that Sanji is going to be slightly higher. People keep saying that Oda has been running a gag for since the beginning of time, that Zoro and Sanji has to go back and forth on competing bounties. Their bounties are always super close to each other, when you only can name one time, and that's only when Zoro didn't get a bounty increase at all. I think that where this is coming from is that for us, Wano has been 5 years, honestly. And so when we seen Sanji with his bounty, in real life time, he had his bounty, and his bounty has been higher than Zoro for quite a few years. But within story, there hasn't really been a time prior to this that their bounties have even been close to each other, much less something relative. Zoro gets a significantly bigger boost than Sanji does, and end up with a significantly higher bounty, and his bounty does mean something more, as we saw that Zoro ends up becoming a supernova and part of the Worst Generation, while Sanji does not. That doesn't mean to say that Sanji isn't, just as important. It's just that his role within the story, like I always keep saying, is slightly different than Zoro's role. Zoro is, again, more of a power dynamic to Luffy, whereas Sanji is more of the thinking and helping others dynamic, and these two combine together to become the wings of the Pirate King. Now, with that being said, we should actually expect to see that Luffy's wings, Zoro and Sanji, should have about 1 billion berries as a Yonko commander. So I'm expecting Sanji's bounty to be anywhere between 1 billion and 1.3 billion as well too. Somewhere within that range. I'll probably give it about 1.2 to be more exact. That's giving him something higher than Katakuri, for instance, but also going to be lower than what we're going to see here, which is Zoro now. Now, for Zoro's bounty, that is going to definitely be higher. Now, I know a lot of you guys are thinking again, well, in the last arc, you know, Oda made Sanji's bounty higher than Zoro's, so maybe that's what he wants to keep doing now. Like, that's what his approach is. But come on, guys, we know the real reason why Sanji got a bounty raise. We know the real reason why Sanji bounty was higher than Zoro. Like, we know what the real reason is. But on a serious note, and what we're going to expect to see, and what my prediction is that Zoro's bounty is going to raise by 1 billion. He currently, right now, he has a 320 million berry bounty. I think that the addition of the 1 billion in front of it, much like how Luffy went from 500 million to 1.5 billion, I think Zoro's going to go from 320 million to 1.32 million. That's just my personal belief. We may even see something higher than Luffy's previous bounty, because that, as the record shows, typically up until Dressrosa, Zoro's new bounty exceeds Luffy's old bounty. So there's a possibility, honestly, that we might see something where Zoro may have something above 1.5, but right now I'm giving him from 1.32 and with a possibility of being over 1.5. And that concludes it today, guys. Those are the bounties for the Straw Hats. Let me know what your thoughts are, anything that you can see that I can improve. And again, if you want me to keep making more videos, please just let me know. Just give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, guys.